Ahead tonight, the jury could soon reach a verdict in the Marco Archer murder trial.
Cuban refugees went to court, their next step in the detention dispute.
And one young man shoots for the stars and blazes like a comet. The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
The judge in the Kofi Goodman murder trial expected to wrap up his summation tomorrow after spending the better part of the day reviewing the evidence for jurors.
That will pave the way for jurors to begin deliberations and return a verdict after sitting through 4 months of testimony in the murder trial. Fern Carey has this.
In his summation, Justice Bernard Turner told jurors not to let any prejudice for the accused, Kofi Goodman, or sympathy for the deceased 11-year-old Marco Archer affect their decision. Jurors have just one murder charge to consider. However, Justice Turner told them that in order to convict Goodman, they must be sure that Archer is dead and that he died within a year and a day from the infliction of harm. Jurors also have to be sure that Archer's death was caused by the harm inflicted by Goodman. The court also reminded jurors that they have to be sure that the unlawful harm inflicted on Archer did not come by extreme provocation or some lawful excuse before they can convict the accused. And if they are not sure Goodman is guilty as charged, he said they cannot convict him. Now, Justice Turner said the prosecution's case is based on circumstantial evidence, and the team maintains that Marco Archer left his mother's home on September 23rd of 2011, dressed in clothing that was later found in a garbage bin in the front yard of the condo where Goodman lived. They also contend that the clothing had Goodman's DNA on it. Justice Turner is expected to wrap up his summation Friday morning, and once that is done, he will hand the case over to the jury for deliberations. Fern Carey, ZNS Network News.
And to another big story tonight, 3 Cuban detainees have to wait at least another 2 weeks in detention in order to determine if their request for release is granted.
The men have been at the center of contention between Cuban exile groups and the government over the last few weeks after claiming abuse of detainees at the detention center.
It's an allegation Bahamian officials continue to deny. Our Andrew Knowles was in court today and has the details.
3 Cuban detainees got their day before Supreme Court judge Thursday morning. Mauricio Valdez, Randy Rodriguez, and Pedro Parado appeared before Justice Carolita Bethel after filing a writ of habeas corpus last week. The trio are seeking to be released from detention based on various allegations of abuse. Those allegations have fueled a series of protests over in Miami by Cuban exile groups. Attorney for the three, Roger Gomez, asked the court to adjourn the matter for 2 reasons. He told the court that he received the affidavit but had to send it to an agency to be translated for his clients. A translator was in court this morning to interpret the proceedings for the men. Now Valdez and Rodriguez, who are both detained at Her Majesty's prisons, completed their resettlement interviews by the UN High Commission on Wednesday. That interview is to determine whether or not a third country was found to relocate the men. However, Parado, who was detained at the detention center, isn't scheduled for an interview until the week of August 12th. Gomez said if his client's applications are successful and they are granted status, they would withdraw the matter from the court. He asked the court to adjourn until August 21st in order to await the outcome of the interviews. Director of Public Prosecutions Vinette Graham-Allen did not object to the adjournment. Now, if the applications are not successful, Justice Bethel said a full hearing into the matter will take place on September 9th. Andrew Knowles, ZNS Network News.
The United States Embassy and surrounding businesses vacated their premises this afternoon after what embassy officials called a minor disruption.
Well, fire services were called in as well as members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, while employees from Winterbotham Place and PJ House looked on from across the road, puzzled as to what was going on. We spoke with partner at the accounting firm Grant Thornton, Mr. Kendrick Christie.
Call came in that there was some kind of threat or something issued against the U.S. Embassy. Now, I have not verified that or anything as yet, but immediately we took action to get our employees out. And as we came out, we saw a lot of the ministry, the employees out of this complex out, and as well as the other surrounding places. And so, as you know, it's better to be safe than sorry. And we just, waiting now to hear from the security for the all clear.
In our first look at weather, torrential rain soaked the central and southeastern islands today as a result of the remnants of Dorian, which continues to trek towards the west and north. But outside of our studios just now, we have cloudy skies, temperature 72 degrees, a relative humidity 88%, winds out of the east at around 6 knots, barometric pressure 1,016.0 millibars. That's 30.00 inches, and it is steady. But stay tuned, temperatures around the Palm Beach Islands, travel and boating forecast is still to come.
Coming up, find out what makes this young man so special.
And major restructuring of the Ministry of Tourism. Find out more coming up. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Shell Helix Ultra. Performance you can see.